Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mackenzie Sullivan. I am a 400 hurdler at the University of Pittsburgh. I make a lot of track content videos and I have been making a lot of hurdle specific content recently so that you aren't doing the wrong mechanics.
Valerie, beautiful.
Part 2 of a video I made last summer. So as I mentioned, I'm a 400 hurdler and today's video is going to be how to run the 400 hurdles. 400 hurdles is arguably the hardest event in track and field. 800 as well. I feel like they're up for grabs, both of which I run, so that's unfortunate. But not only is it just physically hard, it can be hard to learn the technicality of the 400 hurdles. So in today's video, I'm just going to be explaining some of the basics of the 400 hurdles and also break down the race for you. If you're in high school, I know my high school, we had 300 hurdles. I think it depends on your state. Some states do the 300 hurdles, some do the 400 hurdles. If you run AAU club, then you do have the 400 hurdles. So a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about in this video overlap with the 300 hurdles. They can apply, but they are very different races. So if you want to see a 300 hurdle specific video, let me know because I can do that as well. I'm going to preface this video and say, you know, I'm not a coach, I'm not a professional hurdler, but I have been running this race and running the hurdles for a long time. So I do have some general knowledge for people that are starting out and want to learn more. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Obviously, if your coach says something different, don't say, but Mackenzie Sullivan on YouTube said. But I do hope that you guys find what I have to say in this video helpful, and I do think you'll get some good general knowledge from it. Okay, so let's get into the 400 hurdle tips. Okay, first thing you're going to want to note is the block settings for the 400 hurdles is different from the 100 hurdles, if that's what you run. I do know some people that don't change their block settings and it works out for them. It really depends on how many strides you take to that first hurdle. But a general rule of thumb, if this is your block setting for the 100 hurdles, this is your block setting for the 400 hurdles. I am a right lead leg hurdler, so this is my block setting for the 100 hurdles. I'll have my left leg in front for the blocks and right leg behind. But for the 400 hurdles, because of how many strides I take to that first hurdle, I switch it so that I have my right block in front and left behind. So for you, if you are a left lead leg hurdler, you are going to want to have your left block be in front so that you hit that first hurdle. Okay, not hit that first hurdle. You get over that first hurdle with your left lead leg. This is true for a lot of people, but it could be different for you. So make sure you try it out, figure out what setting works best for you to that first hurdle, and from there you'll know what block setting works best for you. It might be the same as your 100 hurdles, it might not. For me, it's different. Hey, so some of my footage got lost. Don't worry, you're still going to see lots at the track. There are 2 pieces of my advice that I cannot find in my camera. So this is me after I've been editing with some more things I want to include. Something that's really important as a long hurdler, 400 hurdles or 300 hurdles, is being able to alternate, which is using both lead legs. There are 400 hurdlers that stay on the same leg over every single hurdle, so it's not necessarily a requirement to know both, but I will say it gives you a big advantage if you're comfortable with both lead legs. Because I can tell you what's going to happen if you come up with the leg that you aren't comfortable with. You're going to come up to that hurdle, realize, oh crap, this is my left lead leg, not my right, and you're going to stutter, completely kill your momentum, and hop over the hurdle, or just it's going to be very ugly and it's going to cost you probably a second or 2. However, if you are comfortable using your left lead leg, even if you are a right lead leg dominant hurdler, then every hurdle, no matter what leg comes up, you are confident and you are able to attack that hurdle. This is easier said than done because I know for a lot of people, especially if you're someone coming from the 100 hurdles, this is pretty taboo. You are used to your one lead leg, but it's going to end up benefiting you greatly if you put effort into learning that other leg. When I was first learning to hurdle, my coach knew I was going to be a 400 meter hurdler, and so he taught me my right lead leg and my left lead leg pretty much at the same time. I would consider myself pretty ambidextrous in the hurdles, and so because of that, I have an advantage over people that are only comfortable using one lead leg. The way to get comfortable with your other lead leg is hurdle drills, focusing on those drills that you would do with your dominant side. Do it on your opposite side. It's going to feel really uncomfortable at first, but that's the way you learn. Next tip, the 400 hurdles is an intimidating race. The open 400 as is already insane, and now you're running over 10 barriers. It can be very overwhelming if you look at the big picture. So don't look at the big picture. When you are training, when you are racing, break it up hurdle by hurdle. Don't be thinking about all 10 hurdles when you first start your race. Break it up, first hurdle, second hurdle. Focus just on getting to that next hurdle. It'll make the race a lot more manageable and easier to digest and be more beneficial, honestly, to you, because you are focusing on perfecting each hurdle individually and not worrying about the whole race. And that's also important because let's say you mess up on hurdle 1, don't be in your head about that. Focus on hurdle 2. You have 9 hurdles to go. Don't think about that one mistake. Focus on what you can do each hurdle. You don't want to worry about everything as a whole. Now I'm kind of getting into your race strategy, breaking up the race. Of course, the 400 is a sprint, so you're going to be sprinting, but you want to make the race manageable. At the start, you're getting out to that first hurdle. You want to get out hard for the first 8 seconds like you typically would in a race. But still going into that first hurdle, coming off of it, you want to be relaxed and be going at a controlled pace. Obviously, there are some hurdlers that, you know what, they are so strong that it works for them to get out like a bat out of hell from the very beginning, like Karsten Warhol. But let's keep in mind he's a world record holder. So for you, especially if you're just starting out, make sure you are going at a manageable pace. You want to be aggressive, but you don't want to necessarily push too hard to where you feel like you're not going to have anything left towards the end of your race. Okay, that was the last tip I missed, so back to the track. Another very important thing during your race is to make sure you are accelerating into every hurdle. Something my hurdle coach always tells me is if you aren't accelerating to the hurdle, then the hurdle is slowing you down. So as I mentioned, you have this controllable pace. Obviously you're still sprinting, but it's controlled. And once you come up to that hurdle, about 3 strides out, you want to be powerful and intentional and get over that hurdle. That acceleration will just make your race even faster, and it will make going over the hurdle a lot easier. If you don't accelerate, it makes the action not seem very intentional. So accelerate into all 10 hurdles. All right, we made it to the 200 in your race. At the 200 mark, the race starts over. You have to be actively thinking in your mind, all right, now I go, now I surge, I have to have an acceleration. This last 200 is the hardest part of the race, and a lot of people are gonna die out, and you have to actively be thinking, all right, now I go, now I accelerate. This is a whole new race. And after you hit that 200 mark, you're coming around this last curve. Don't check out on the curve. For me, and I feel like a lot of other hurdlers, that last curve is almost the hardest part of the race, not even that last straightaway, because fatigue is starting to set in and you still have to accelerate and be strong and powerful in this curve, but you can't check out. You have to stay active in your mind and obviously everything going on in your body when you're hurdling. It'll help to remind yourself at that 200, the race starts over on this curve. Stay in it, stay in it. All right, now we are on the last straightaway of the race. You are dead. Everything hurts. You are regretting your event choice, but you still have 2-3 more hurdles to get over. As hard as it is, you want to really try to maintain as good form as you can through that last straightaway. That's good running form and also good hurdling form. And that can be hard when you feel like you are near death. But you've got to get over these hurdles. And if you get over these hurdles cleaner than the person next to you, you're in a better position. So even through this fatigue, make sure you are leaning into the hurdle, not being straight up. Still have that lean in. That will prevent you from rocking back. I talked about that a little bit in my Hurdles for Beginners video. If you don't lean forward, you rock back, and that can expose you greatly, especially in this last straightaway. It's not great in the other parts of the race, but at this point when you are dead, that rock back can be lethal. So you want to make sure you are keeping that good form, you are leaning into the hurdle, you are attacking the hurdle so that you are able to run off of it. Because if you rock back and you're already feeling dead, that's one of the worst feelings because you have such little energy and now you have to reset and get back to your form. So be intentional with those hurdles as hard as it is. Try and check back in at each hurdle. All right, now I hurdle, now I hurdle. Keep it clean, keep it intentional. It's much easier said than done, and you know, mistakes will happen, but if you are constantly thinking about good hurdle technique throughout your race, then chances are it's gonna be a lot cleaner than you just running free and hopping over these. All right guys, so that is all for this video. I hope you learned just some basic things about the 400 hurdles. If you liked it and you aren't subscribed already, please subscribe. And let me know any other hurdle videos that you want to see from me. Comment questions below if you have any. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.